What do they tell us? That they are outstanding. They've performed phenomenally well. He's not changing anybody because they've been out. Oh, please.
Guys, I'm leaving, guys, to Ohio.
Oh,
yeah, please, yeah.
It's a problem with this country.
Ohio University. You went to
Harvard trained.
Yeah,
that's how our financial. That's how our finance minister was described.
Just Yale, Harvard.
Yeah, Harvard trained.
Then I remember the president. We have somewhere Yale, Harvard, Wall Street, then Wall Street broker, bank, now
broker. That's why we're broke. We are broke.
Now, the IMF has decided to appoint a supervisor for the Bank of Ghana.
Such a shame.
So it means that the Bank of Ghana governor, his records at IMF.
They're horrible.
But the way they're marking him like the way they mark me in school. F.
But me, I like it because it's the same Ghanaians who are choking. They're letting the IMF know that if you don't open your eyes well, things will not go right for us. I mean,
no, but Bella, you know, it doesn't even have to take people choking, you know. The IMF people, excuse my language, they are not stupid.
No, your language is good. Please speak it.
They see exactly what, nobody has to even choke for them to know exactly what's going on. Listen, what didn't we have to do in the beginning? We had to do stakeholder engagement. Do you think that the IMF doesn't know that we didn't do stakeholder engagement, that we didn't talk to anybody before embarking on this DDEP and all? They are very aware of everything that's going on in this country. So when they come back and they just give us figures and tell us that, okay, now they've achieved 83% of the target to be able to get the attention of the IMF, bring the figures and let's see. Now bring the figures. They call you into parliament yesterday. No show. No explanation whatsoever. What are you running away from? Is there anything that you want to cover? Are there any tracks that you want to cover properly before you come and account to the people? Well, it's been shifted to Thursday. Say Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. Thursday will by all means come. When Thursday comes, then we will know for sure that have you been able to achieve the 83% that you are talking about. So IMF, they don't even need choking. They know exactly what's happening. I know they don't,
but then I'm sure that they do speak to Ghanaians to also get the inside information.
Some of them even live here. Some of them are living here. They go onto the markets, they watch the news, they are monitoring local news, newspapers, all the portals, they are checking everything. Just that we don't know that we are IMF for, but they are really here. They are checking everything. At the end of the day, we all will know. Charlie, did you hear about Sophia Kufu's response? Guys, I dropped it in the
yesterday.
group. I dropped it in the group.
She went the second time again.
Yeah, yesterday she was there.
7th day running. And next week to Martin.
She had second day in the run.
Next week to Martin Kwebu and his people.
Do we have the inset?
They are hitting the street.
I have the inset.
Please, let's get the inset.
I've sent it to him. This woman said Gabi is just a disturbance. Gabi cannot tell her.
Jesus Christ of Bethlehem, Aladura.
Agenda. Gabi will get
bones, but blah blah will not hurt me. No, an insult is the weapon of the pin-brained. That's all I've got to say. I'm not going to trade words with pin-brains. I'm sorry. So we are waiting. When they become due, we shall see. But it will be better that for all of us, and for the nation too, that he responds to the letter that's been sent to him. Why? What's stopping, apart from pride, what else is stopping the issuance of a response to the letter?
That's former Chief Justice Sophia Kufu responding.
There's been a mixed reaction to this, you know. The first day when she did appear, didn't really watch what she said yesterday. But the first day, there was this mixed reaction because she made a statement by saying, now my mouth is ungagged, you know, something like that. So that even speaks volumes. When you're busy eating the pie, you don't complain.
Yeah.
So if you're in office, and you're the Chief Justice, for example, or you're a Justice of the Supreme Court, or a Justice of any of the Superior Court, or you hold a high-end position in society, and you see something wrong, it means you must say it.
Must say it. Don't wait.
We don't have to wait for you to be 17 years.
Exactly.
When everything is down, before you start complaining. Then the other reaction was this fixed? Was this something that's just part of the drama?
Yeah.
To give people the indication that, oh, the government even is allowing a former Chief Justice to also help the picketers, so to speak. Because we are all part of the problem that Ghana is in. We don't talk when we have to talk. We don't criticize when we have to, even in party. And we have a recent instance where the two topmost parties in Parliament, the NDC and NPP, all said they didn't want the finance minister. The argument from the NPP communicators was that the reasons being assigned for essential motion by their opponents, the NDC, were not the same as theirs. As a result of that, there was not going to be a support. And then you come back and say that the man is not implementing actions that will enable us get a board approval. More so, he is not fit for purpose to be the finance minister. Which of these narratives do we take? And if you look at how we've decided since 1993 in this Fourth Republic to govern ourselves, we have no one else to blame. No wonder the IMF has a supervisor now going to be at the Bank of Ghana to supervise Dr. Addison. And that is the problem that we have. We see that the roads are not well constructed. We will never say, oh. We will wait. When there's a disaster, then we'll complain. Where was she when these things were ongoing? You know, some of these actions need to be undertaken when you have the power to do so. You don't wait when now your time is over and you say that in solidarity you also go and pick it. So how do we interpret this action? Well and good, but on the other side, is it intended?
Is it coming too late? Is it coming to? And for me, I'd always go back to 2019. I remember that when she was Chief Justice, that was the time that law students were very unhappy about even the number of students who had sat for the exams and the number who had passed. I remember in 2019, about 1,000 of them sat for exams and only 128 students passed. And these law students were saying that, you know, the bar is too high, open it up, allow more people to take up the course. And she came out and said, I'm sorry, but we cannot open, you know, the legal, exactly,
and that it's a prestigious
and I was very
institution.
hurt, exactly, I was very hurt when she said that. When she was in power, she just felt like at that point, it didn't really matter to open up for people who really wanted to study law. Who knows, maybe if they had lowered the bar a bit, a lot more people, because we're told that we're even short of lawyers in the country. And yet, when it mattered the most, she said, I'm sorry, but we cannot open the floodgates. What changed over time? If she was still in power up until now, would she still have that same posture as not caring necessarily, and I use that advisedly, not caring necessarily about everybody else because she's in power? Or is it because she's out of power, so now she feels
maybe there's an oath of
like
office that she's
else?
taking, so,
and I can imagine how some
true,
law students will feel about her coming out now. I think it's great that she's speaking up, especially if we're getting someone from government who was previously serving under the government to speak. But timing, was it the right time? And when you had the chance to speak, look at how you treated even law students. Look at how you spoke to them. All of a sudden, because you're not in power anymore, you think it's okay to come out and speak?
As for the picketing, I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
I don't think it will stop, honestly.
No, but the reality is that it doesn't have to stop.
But I think Ghanaians need to open their eyes. I mean, don't allow people to just throw dust into your eyes. And I'm not saying in any way that the former Chief Justice or anybody who's picketing is throwing dust into our eyes. But I think that we all need to be a bit more inquisitive, a bit more intelligent about some of these things and decipher for ourselves who really cares about us and who doesn't.
But does anybody
make
care?
a decision at this point?
Does anybody care?
Well, we're the ones that put them in power.
You know, the last time we have a subsidiary of Standard & Poor's, and they undertook a survey that also gave us indication of how exposed our banks were to government's assets and securities. Somebody from one of the banks, local banks, came to tell a colleague to tell me that, Charlie, the way I'm doing, customers, so the bank will collapse and things like that. When we're collapsing the banks, we didn't know that.
Think about
and the reality is that we have a system in which government securities are the most secured. So even for the Chief Justice, who according to his age, even though he's an Article 71 office holder or retires on her emolument, also will have money, or let's say asset, for which she can make a decision or a choice to invest. Which will be your best asset? It will be a government security. So we have pensioners who are having their own money after having worked for years, invested in government securities, bonds specifically, and now the finance minister is taking a decision and not making considerations for them. We have members of parliament, okay, sometimes even within their own parties, deliberately there are instigations that make them lose their seats. Yeah. They are given some what we have described as ex gratia. How do we intend for them to keep on living? Whatever they get, they have to invest in some sort of instrument, and they do that with bonds, etc. Yeah. Now we decide to wake up one day and make a decision that these categories of people, these number of assets, are supposed to be counted among those that will be used for a debt exchange program. How would all of us feel if we all worked for 40 years or we all worked for 5 years? We accrued so and so amount, invested, and one day a finance minister comes and tells you that through the Securities and Exchange Commission, I've decided to now peg it at a mark-to-market value. Yeah. Your initial investment of 130,000 is now 117,000. Just like that. That is my money that you are playing with.
Said there'll be no haircuts.
Yeah, and so we have people like that, former members of parliament, business people, companies. Companies, because when companies get their revenues and then they declare profits, or even they are collecting their revenues, they don't keep the monies into their accounts. They have to invest that money somewhere to get some returns. And if we know the amount of exposures companies have been exposed to these bonds and the difficulties the economy is going through, we won't be here and then be labeling the point. We are in a serious crisis. We are. A crisis for which even the finance minister in December told us that, oh, we shouldn't worry. By January, dear, we'll get IMF board approval. They make it difficult for even government community. All of them have run, ministers of this, deputy minister, all of them. They've left it for former MPs, normal communicators, party members, and those who are part of the communication to come and defend
when they actions are not the that ones, they took. Yeah, they're not the ones. I mean, I thought we had the resources.
You think about it, and
it doesn't. We have the resources. We are a blessed nation. We will not go to IMF. Please, and I'm always going to stand. And we have the men. Yes. I'm always going to stand on that and ask that: what happened to all those resources, and why are we where we are at the moment? If we really did have all those resources. And when was
the last time the economic management team actually met to take decisions and policies for all of us? Just questions.